Hi, welcome back to another episode of Quick Clean Eats. On today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make a quick, easy snack for when you're on the go. So stay tuned, I'll be showing you how to do that right away. Okay, so lately I've been really focusing on fine-tuning my diet. So one of the tricks is to get all your meals in, but then there's also have to be a little bit of snacks. So healthy snacks are hard to come by. So I started playing around with some recipes and some protein bites and protein balls, whatever they call it. And I came up with my own version of it. So I'll show you how I do it. So first you're gonna take 1 cup quick oats. I bought mine at Costco. I mean, you can buy wherever you want, but you need just 1 cup. You can do, make sure they're quick oats and not like rolled oats. It makes a little difference in the texture. So again, you take 1 cup. You put it in your bowl. Now I'm gonna take 2/3 cup of almond butter. You can use organic peanut butter if you don't have almond butter, but I like almond butter because of the little difference in taste. Just a little bit of different texture almost. So again, you're gonna go 2/3. I'm gonna stir it up because as we all know, it sits at the bottom. So use a spoon just to stir it up. Always have a rubber spatula handy because you're gonna need it. So we're gonna go 2/3 cup. With these kind of recipes, you do have to measure, because it'll change how the recipe comes out. So I got 2/3 cup. I'm gonna put that in my bowl. Make sure you clean it out nicely. That's why a rubber spatula comes in really handy for this kind of recipe. Yep. Now you're gonna still use your measuring cup, because then also we're gonna do 1/2 cup dark chocolate. I got 72% cocoa, so it has to be dark. Don't use milk because of the fats. You want as much cocoa as possible, so you need 1/2 cup. Just like that. You're gonna add that in there. Again, use your spatula to get everything out. Now, we're also gonna do 2 ounces honey, just to add a little bit of sweetness. Since we're using bitter chocolate, you want still a little bit of sweetness, so you need about 2 ounces. There you go. I also wanted to add a little bit more nutrients, so I got hemp seed, chia seed, and I believe it has all 3. So this one's, flax, chai, and hemp. This is Super Seed Blend. You can get this one on Amazon or in any local stores. This one has a little bit of coconut in it. And you'll see why I like this one at the end. So I'm gonna do 3 tablespoons. Set that aside. And there you go. Now all you're gonna do is mix this together. This is gonna make a solid mixture, which then we're gonna scoop out into our protein balls. So while you're doing that, you can just sit there and see it. Now if you see it's a little too dry, you can always add a little bit more almond butter, or if it's too wet, add a little bit more oats. But you'll see it comes out really like a paste, almost like a cookie dough. So that's what you're looking for. So just make sure you mix it all well together, since you got all those seeds in there and then you got the honey. You got to really work this through. That way every little bite gets a little bit of everything. So when you have it the way you want it, now we're gonna make the balls. So what I'm gonna do, since my baking sheet here has a little toasted coconut, which you'll see why we're gonna use that a little bit later, I'm gonna take a little sheet of aluminum foil. I'm gonna put it just like this on my table. Then I'm gonna grab a scoop. This is about a 2-ounce metal scoop. You can get these anywhere. Black handle. They're always color coded, so the black handle is what you're looking for. So then you're gonna take your mixture and then make some balls. So you can, this is a cool little recipe you can do with the kids at home. It's pretty easy. It doesn't have that many ingredients. I mean, you can count them yourself. I believe there's only just a couple. I mean, 7, I think, when it's all said and done. Depends on how creative you want to get with it. I'll give you some tips later on what else you can do with this same recipe. But as soon as you gotta sit there and just scoop out all the mixture. Now that all the balls have been scooped out, what you're gonna do is take your toasted coconut and kind of grate it. See, I got just long shaved coconut. So what I did was, it's raw, unsweetened. I just toasted it a little bit to add a little bit of natural sweetness to it. I'm gonna take a bowl and I'm just gonna rough chop it. You could throw this in a food processor, but since the coconut's nicely toasted and it's been dried out a little bit just by leaving it out at room temperature, which is how you dry it out, just leave it uncovered at room temperature. It works pretty easy just to grind it with your hands. And I find it makes it more interesting, and a lot, you know, this recipe goes by so fast, so a little extra time doesn't hurt. And it gives it more of a different appeal. It won't look really shredded. You'll still have some nice chunks of coconut. So again, all you're doing is taking your hands and breaking it apart. Now that you have it all broken apart, you're gonna take your ball and just run it in there. You squeeze and just put it on top. Just like this. You can make it, form it, and then you set it aside. The peanut butter, the almond butter I should say, sorry, grabs the coconut since it still has a little bit of moisture, which is gonna make this a little bit easier to eat later on. When I was playing with this recipe the first time, I wasn't adding any coconut to it. So what I noticed was they were a little too gooey. So the purpose for me was, I love going to the movies and doing normal activities, but I never have a good healthy snack to take with me. So what I would do is just take these in a Ziploc bag and take them with me. But since they were a little bit too gooey, they would stick together. It'd be really messy on my hands and stuff like that. So I was like, what if I added a little bit of texture to it to dry it out a little bit more? So I came out with the toasted coconut. So again, just keep on going. So there you have it. All the balls are already coconut crusted. So this recipe yielded 11 nice 2-ounce balls. So that's what you get from this recipe. You can scale it to any purpose you want. But this recipe usually lasts you about a week in the refrigerator. So anything over a week, I would just discard them. So what I would do next is throw them in my refrigerator, let them chill off, which is gonna make them a little bit more solid and easier to transport. Like I said, you know, Ziploc bag, easy. Small little Tupperware container just to carry with you. Now I'll give you a couple little tips. Another thing you can do with this is add a little bit of cayenne powder. Cayenne powder has been shown to boost your metabolism a little bit by spiking your natural metabolism. So that's a nice little tip. A little cinnamon also goes a long way. You could also substitute the coconut for some different kind of nuts. You can do like a grated almond also, or like even like a cashew or a walnut, something different. And you also add a little bit more. Those are just a couple tips. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Hopefully you learned something and you'll try to do this recipe, because actually these are really good, very easy, and very fun to do with the kids or the family or whoever you're making these with. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Leave me any comments, feedback. As always, follow me on Instagram at chefjesseq. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye.